Welcome back. We will start jury trials this morning with a jury coming in. Last week we didn't have trials. It was one of the off weeks. We didn't have trials or pleas, but something special took place in Conway. We had a visit by our Supreme Court, and they held court at Coastal. Really just took the justices of the Supreme Court, brought their seal, and set up shop at Coastal in Conway. I believe they did that mainly because Justice Hearn, Kaye Hearn, her last term of court was in February. So it was a really neat little send-off for Justice Hearn. She lives in Conway. It's my understanding that she is going to be doing some work here in Conway, appellate work, and she's not totally retiring, but she is retiring from the Supreme Court. To my knowledge, I don't remember having a justice from our area other than Justice Johnny Waller. And Justice Waller was from over in Marion, and that's been 20 some years ago. But Justice Hearn has been on the bench. She went from family court to the Court of Appeals, and then on to the Supreme Court, where she has been for at least 15 years. She is one of five. There's 5 Supreme Court justices, and all of them came to Conway and heard 2 cases on Wednesday and 2 cases on Thursday. I think that's right. Maybe it was 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, but they heard quite a few cases that had some local effect to some of them. I really like what they're doing because how often are we going to get in a car and drive to Columbia to watch a hearing unless we are involved in that hearing, which is they do about 99% of all of their stuff in the Supreme Court building in Columbia, which is right across from the House and Senate there, the State House. So they have been doing a little bit of this. They've taken the show on the road. I know they've been to Rock Hill. They've been here to Conway, and it was good as a send-off for Justice Hearn for them to be here. Real quickly, and we've talked about the appeals process and how frustrating it may seem for victims of crime. And it is very frustrating for prosecutors. I think the last time I told you, as soon as we get someone convicted, they give them a pencil and a stack of paper and they start writing appeals. And all of those have got to be heard either by the circuit court judge or by the Court of Appeals or by the Supreme Court. Well, what's happening there, and all of us sit back and say, well, he did it. The jury found him guilty, that sort of thing. But what's happening is they are really looking at the procedure to make sure that all of the rules were followed. And that is why it's so important for the defense attorney. A lot of y'all have been watching the Murdoch case. There's a trial going on, but then there's a trial within a trial where the defense is trying to make certain motions that will kick up as red flags, so that the record, they don't get to watch the whole trial again, the justices don't, but they just read the record as it is put out there. And then every time there is a objection and the judge rules, that sends up a little red flag. They go to that part of the transcript and they see if the judge was right or wrong. And it's a lot tougher than you may think, because most of the time this is not a 5-0 ruling. Even the Supreme Court will not agree, and those are lawyers lawyer judges that have done it for quite a while, but they'll argue back and forth. But it's not rewatching the case. It's not saying, do you think he's guilty or do you think he's not guilty? What they're looking at is certain rulings along the way, and I think they give a lot of deference to the jury and the judge at the district court level. In other words, they're the ones that were there while all of this was going on in rapid fire, so they give a lot of deference to that. The big thing to take away this week is that the Supreme Court loaded it up and came to Conway, and I went for one criminal case that they were reviewing, and there at least was 100 people in that auditorium, probably closer to 150. And if we were to have gone to Columbia to see it, there may have been 3. So a lot of students there, a lot of faculty. It was a neat thing to see, and congratulations, Justice Hearn, on your retirement. And I'm glad that you got to do the send-off here in Conway, where she has practiced all of her adult life. We will be back with you next week and let you know how the trials and the pleas went during this term of court.